Not everybody enjoyed it. That happens on some of my gravel rides. Gretchen Mason said she would never ride a bike with me again after Palestine. You remember Palestine?
Oh, yeah. Gretchen, she still wants to kill you.
We are now...
Pat, we know you don't.
We are recording. What's up, guys? It's Soil Cycling Podcast number 7. I can't really believe we're doing this again. I want to throw a quick shout out to Austin Hines, who said that this is his favorite podcast. Austin, I need you to, comment, subscribe, send us some emails, sign up to our Patreon and our OnlyFans. We're sitting around here with a group in the luxurious Bike Surgeon recording studio, and thanks Pat for letting us use the space. So who we got tonight?
Jeff Mox,
Gabriel Arnone,
Sean Moore,
Justin Pohl,
Hank Dieters.
All right, so it's back to kind of the OG crew. We got Hank back. We haven't had Hank for a while. And we got our special guest, Sean Moore. You probably know him as Mo. Been around the mountain bike and gravel scene in Southern Illinois for a long, long time. And so let's just get into it. We got a quick Zwift corner. We got Jeff, our Zwift expert here. So what do you got to talk about on Zwift here?
Just a reminder that we have the Zwift Club out in Zwift for Southern Illinois Zwifters. We have the Facebook group, and we have a Discord channel that has been hopping quite a bit lately. So just a reminder, join those. Join us online. We have our Thursday rides, and we're looking at adding a few more.
Yeah. Anybody like the Discord? What do you guys think of the Discord server?
I ain't been on it.
You haven't been on it?
Don't know what it is.
Don't know what it is?
I've been checking it a little bit.
Okay.
I think it's mostly you and I talking about gravel groups.
Yeah, I'm asking gravel questions. It's a new place for me to ask people for advice and ideas about how I can, the first time I heard of Discord, there was actually some local people who got in the national news. There was a kid from Creel Springs who literally, you don't know about this? Okay, this was on the national news. This is several years ago. He was on a Discord server and he was enticing. He enticed a young boy from Florida to come. And they were in their 30s and they were gamers, because Discord's a gamers platform. That's why Jeff, he's a gamer. And these gamers enticed a young boy from Florida to come up here, and it was bizarre. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to stay away from Discord. It sounds pretty screwed up. And then now that I've actually used it, because Jeff made it, I like it. It's really cool. It's a little cutesy. In fact, I made a Hello Kitty icon for myself because it's so cutesy. When the new person joins, you get to press a button and a little rainbow character comes out and waves at them. It is so cool. I do actually really like it because it's not Facebook. There's no ads. There's no distractions. You can just get on there and ask Gabe questions, and Gabe will answer your questions or whoever. And it's fun. It's a good way to keep in track. And we got a pretty good. Okay, so let's get on. We got Dirty South to talk about. That's kind of what today's episode, the main theme. Unless there's any other Zwift we want to talk about. Nope. You good on that? You don't even do it.
Never.
You're mainly doing.
He's mainly just dropping people. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Pointing at Justin.
Yeah.
Unless it's Eric.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah. We do have this pretty cool race scene. I just want to throw out too, we got a Thursday night race kind of group ride thing. It's a lot of fun. I found out that I can sprint when it's downhill and I cheat on my weight. That should actually hurt me. It was downhill. I was beating you guys at a few pounds lighter than I really am. Okay.
Weight doping.
Yeah, weight doping. I would dope any way I could. I swear. Okay. Trying to get some stuff before Dirty South, but my connections aren't. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so Sean, Dirty South. Okay, it's grown a lot. I've been around it since, the first one. How big, in your mind, is it where it should be? Do you want it to be bigger?
I don't know that I want to go a lot bigger. I want to keep it. I think getting bigger, and it's not going to feel grassroots event style. I still want it to look like a low-key event and not a giant expo and tons of vendors and tons of people that aren't there to race or watch somebody race. So I wanted to keep it where it looks like it's more of, and it is a cheaper race option versus some of the bigger options. So we try to keep the price low, and to do that, we can't add all kinds of fluff to the event, so it needs to basically stay like a grassroots event. So if we get much bigger, we're also going to run out of space in Alto Pass. So we bump it like 100 each year and test the parking situation and the capacity of Alto. And so far we haven't overfilled it. So this year might be the year, and then that's going to be our number. So started out, this is year 7 of the actual race. Started with 100. This year's going to be 750. So
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
I know.
in a town that has, I think, like maybe 200 or 300 is the census of the Alto Pass area.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Have you ever thought about moving out of Alto Pass?
not necessarily the original Dirty South moving out of Alto Pass, but I've thought about a second Dirty South somewhere else in the region.
Yeah. I think that's a cool idea. Like, I've always wondered about that. Like, I don't want to do the work.
Yeah,
I just say I've always thought, every time I think about it, I'm like, man, I should do like dirty, because I quit even organizing like fun group rides for Dirty Southeast Side. I used to every year, and then I was like, the last year I did it was when a dude named Paul crashed. Paul, if you're listening, I know you're not, but Paul, I told you not to go so fast down Eagle Mountain when it was washed out. And I saw him go flying off his bike in my corner of my eye and into a rock, and I thought, well, he just died.
yeah. Paul was actually going faster off of his bike than I was on my bike.
Yeah.
He passed me in the air
What?
with no bike.
What are you doing, dude?
Yeah, like we had just gave the
With the
speech
eagle.
at the top of Eagle Mountain.
I said,
and
don't.
said-
Eagle in the Eagle Mountain.
yeah, it was like the bald eagle was heading past me down the mountain.
Yeah.
His wheels were flying past.
Like-
The wheel was
yeah.
flying.
Like I'm a fast downhill gravel rider, and I was flying, and Paul comes flying past me with no bike left,
Yeah.
and
I was on your wheel.
I could hear you yelling like,
What are you-
slow down!" And then his bike hit the rear wheel. I think shot out of it. Paul stopped abruptly into the boulder, and Paul's he's a pretty muscular dude, and he
Yeah.
hit hard. and,
solid man like a dwarf.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like a
Not
solid
that
dwarf.
small. Yeah, but he's a solid dude, and he
Solid guy.
hit the rock hard, and the rock didn't break, but
And somehow you managed to continue.
he continued, and man, we were pretty
brutal.
hard on Paul that day.
That's brutal.
He didn't know what he'd signed up for. We took him through Gossage.
Pat was there, and we went through Gossett. It was a bad idea. It was my attempt to kind of create.
on gravel bikes.
Yeah, we
It was
took
gravel bikes. It
through
was
the
like
horse
I was like
trails.
Monster Cross. We're gonna do some.
It was
freaking-
legit fun, but
Yeah, I-
I felt bad for Paul. Paul was more of a road rider, and we took him right into the depths.
Not
of
everybody
gravel.
enjoyed it. That happens on some of my gravel rides. Gretchen
Yeah.
Mason said she would never ride a bike with me again after Palestine. You remember Palestine?
Oh yeah, Gretchen. She still wants to kill you.
Oh, I think
actually.
she would.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this. She came into the shop
yeah.
Yeah,
and she's like, "I just mentioned your name."
yeah. She's
And the
she's
rage
not
came out.
happy. about that.
I'm sorry, Gretchen. I'm really sorry.
Her
Yeah.
face was that color.
She-
That color.
It was bad. Is a bad
She-
route.
She wasn't even bleeding, but she did
It
have
was
some
a
pretty
bad-
good
it was a bad
bruising
day.
after that event.
Yeah.
That was a lot of mud.
Rough day. And yeah, so as far as just expanding it, what do you? How far have your thoughts gone towards that? Like,
Well, as far as like a second race,
Yeah.
I keep thinking of different areas I would like to do a race. I've got a couple areas that I would like the central area south of Goreville would be awesome.
yeah, I
Or
want to ride there soon.
or the Mitchellsville area would be awesome.
Yeah.
The problem is finding a place to host that
Yeah.
the number of people, and
Yeah,
I don't know, like on the Dirty South that we have, the first one we did, we had no idea how many people would come. We were like, if we get 50 people, we'll do it. If we don't get 50, we got to cancel. And we ended up with 100. So I think the first race on, say, the east side would be more than 100, but I don't know how many people would come. And I really don't know when we would do it, because springtime, we're basically the first gravel race that's, I mean, I don't want to say we're like big gravel race, but we're one of the first race of the spring season. So right after us is the Mid-South, and then it just keeps going every weekend. So I feel like the fall is more of a mountain bike race season, and I don't really want to go any earlier because it could be 9 degrees. It could also be 9 degrees in March, but luckily we
Yeah,
haven't had that
it's
yet.
always nice. It's
Yeah,
like crazy.
so our weather's been great, but so I don't really want to go any earlier. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure when we would do it, and I don't want to do like back-to-back deal because the volunteers, which are the kind of the most important part of the race, you can't wear them out. So
Yeah.
I don't want to overuse them. So people have suggested doing like a Saturday race and a Sunday mountain bike race, or a Sunday small gravel race, and I don't know. First of all, I don't want to have to plan 2 races in the
Yeah.
same weekend and basically be on the move for 36 hours straight.
Well, since you just talked about, it kind of leads me to my next thing I wanted to talk about, which is you talked about sort of like the way that Dirty South falls into the schedule. I'm going to ask you this: who do you think's the most high-profile rider? Is there a high-profile rider that's hitting it up every year? Like, does somebody come to mind? Men or women's side?
Pan racer.
I would say
Hank Dieters.
well, other than Matt Golson.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Kai Takashita. She did race for Pan Racer. I think that team's kind of dissolved, and I'm not sure what the main sponsor is. Lauf was the sponsor of her team last year that she was on, but she hasn't been for a couple years. But she was at several of the first few or the first races. I think she came to maybe not the first one, but like 2, 3, 4, and 5. She was there. Trying to think who else. The Move Up cycling team out of Kansas City area, they've been a staple since the first year. Scott Williamson, who went to school here at SIU, used to ride with us. He moved out there. He's on the Move Up team, and they bring anywhere from 6 to 10 guys every year, guys and girls. Don Daly, he's one of the main sponsors. Bike Source, he's the main sponsor of their team, and his daughter, she's going to do the half this year, and I think she's 12, and she is fast. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't sign up
Yeah.
for the half, so
Yeah.
I don't get toasted by a 12-year-old
And-
girl, and
and
I'd be like,
she's-
"Woo, my life's complete."
She's small, so you would not be able to draft off of her very
That
well.
wouldn't help.
Yeah, she's tiny.
I
and,
bet
and
I'd kill her on the
lightning
downhills.
fast. You probably would, especially if you had the old steel rig.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the Bandersnatch or whatever that was.
So, just throw this funny story out. You guys probably know Drew Dillman. So I started following Drew Dillman. I found out that Dizzle is his cool name. And Dizzle is not that far from here. So I sent him a message a couple times. I've been trying to entice him. He's actually got a little bit of a connection because you were mentioning that Dirty South, it kind of is, I think, like almost a season opener. And so there's a dude from Owensboro named Mark Miles. And I've been doing a lot of homework for podcasting, listening to a lot of podcasts, following the Bonk Bros. And they were kind of making fun of this dude from Owensboro in a cyclocross race who posted up for getting second. He was really excited about getting second to Dillman at a cross race. And they were like, yeah, I think he's from Owensboro, Kentucky. And I'm like, hey, I know where Owensboro is. So I looked him up, and he posted his race schedule. And he's like, I'm opening my season with Dirty South. And I'm like, well, that's cool. So I sent Dizzle a message on something or other, and I'm like, hey, your buddy Mark Miles that you made fun is going to be there, so you should come. And I don't think he's coming. I don't know. But yeah, it really kind of is sort of opening season race for, I think, a lot of people in the, I don't know what this is. It's not really Midwest, but it's kind of, what are we, South? Mid.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of South Midwest. I think Midwest is
I think we're more like west east.
West East, South, West.
West East Coast.
We're just mid.
Yeah.
Mid.
Okay. Oh, golly. So, let's talk about being a race.
Justin's dead.
What are you dead about?
Is this west, east, or south?
We're kind of in the middle of the country. Just in the middle.
Flyover.
But we're not middle south. I'm not sure even what that is, middle south. What's the hardest part about being a race promoter? Like what?
Well, I think there's a couple different stressful times of being in charge of a race. I guess getting registration opened. So whenever registration opens, the Sunday morning after Thanksgiving at 8 o'clock. So at like 7:45 until 8:02 is super nerve-wracking to make sure that at 8 o'clock there's nothing jammed up and I don't get 700 text messages and emails that are like, I tried to register and can't. So that, as soon as that goes, the stress from that's kind of over. And then just remembering all of the stuff that you have to contact. Like last year, I actually forgot about porta potties until I met the guy that I get porta potties from on the highway one day, and I'm like, holy shit,
yeah.
I forgot to order porta potties. So I immediately call the guy, and he was like less than a half mile behind me after I met him. I'm like, Steve, forgot to get the pots. He's like, all right, how many you need? When is this thing? I'm like, 2 weeks. He's like, all right, I got them. So like, luckily I met him, because there's a good chance if I hadn't met him, I would have got there the morning of the race and been like, oh boy, we got 2 toilets and 600 people.
Disaster.
That would be bad. So anyway, just remembering all the stuff: insurance, porta potties, food, drinks, Forest Service permits from the state for the Trail of Tears State Forest, all that stuff. Making sure all that gets done and not missed. And a lot of it takes a long time. Like the Forest Service permit, I sent that stuff in probably 3 or 4 months ago, and I just got it yesterday. So it takes a while. And then the morning of the race, super stressful getting everyone checked in. And as soon as basically I leave I'll say race headquarters, I leave downtown like 5 minutes before the race starts so I can go make sure all the volunteers are in place and nobody's done anything stupid on the course like change our signs around. And I kind of, as soon as I leave town, it's kind of like, okay, cool, we got everybody signed in and race is on. Last year at mile, I'll say probably 9, came around a corner on Scatters Road, and there was a giant tree that had fell overnight across the road. So luckily, I had a chainsaw, and by the time I got the tree cut and we got it dragged out of the way, we had less than a minute before the peloton of everyone doing 28 miles an hour came through there. So
Dang.
it was legit crazy. It was right before the turn to go up the hill at Pine Hills, like right before that little bridge. And I came flying around the corner in my truck. I'm like, holy crap. So there's a bunch of vines, big tree. So
Did you have a saw with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cut it, and luckily the volunteer that was going to be at the next corner, Seth, was right behind me in his truck, and he's kind of a know-how to get it done guy, and he basically hopped out, grabbed a chain, had it wrapped around the tree, hooked to his truck, and as soon as I cut it, he drug part of it, cut the other part, drug the other part, and it was probably a 2-minute ordeal to get the tree out of the way, and we literally had less than a minute after that before they came by. So, and that would have been pretty bad.
no idea.
Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say I had no idea.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it was gone.
so,
Thank you.
yeah, you probably could have smelled the 2-stroke gas still when you went through there.
Not when I got there.
I was gonna say, maybe those guys.
It was long
dissipated.
gone by the time I got there. I was like, oh, fresh.
So,
Fresh
Mo, is there anything that the participants can do to help on like during packet pickup or something like that to
packet pickup.
alleviate some of that stress?
Please come on Friday to packet pickup. Come to St. Nick's at the airport in Carbondale. Get your race number, and if you want, get some food and beer, and
Get some food and beer.
That will make things so much easier on Saturday. The more people come on Friday, the easier it is on Saturday. I think this year we're actually going to change things up a little bit on packet pickup because T-shirts are a big time adder at packet pickup. So this year, I think we're going to do T-shirt pickup after the race. So when you finish the race, then we're going to do a tear off on the bib for a shirt and a tear off for food. Last year we did a tear off for food and it worked great. This year I think we're going to do one for a shirt, one for food. So you get done, you hand a tear off for your shirt in, get your shirt, and then you go get food. Because we'll be able to have 10 people doing check-in, and all we have to do is grab the top bib and hand it to you and check you off the list. So otherwise, we've got 10 people tripping over each other to try to get to the large shirt for 6 guys. So so I think that'll help. But yeah, more people that can come on Friday, the better Saturday goes in the morning.
So show up Friday, get beer, get food.
Man, all the stuff that we've talked about is why I'm not a race promoter, because I always think I suck at racing, so maybe I should be a race promoter. And then I start thinking like, I think I'd suck at that too. That's a lot of work, man. I mean,
It's like kind of goes in waves. It's like you don't do anything for a while, and then all of a sudden you've got all this stuff you got to get going, and then you wait on everybody else, and then then the insurance comes in, the permits come in, registration opens, all that stuff. So yeah, it's just kind of a cycle of downtime and then busy. So
Okay, well, I threw this on here because I just really want to know, and I thought we'd just run around the table with this. We don't. Jeff, we'll start with you. I mean, you're probably, no offense, but you're probably the least Spirit of Gravel guy in here, I think, because
Yep, I'm relatively
you're just
new at it.
starting on the
Yep,
gravel.
just starting.
So, what do you think Spirit of Gravel is? I want to know.
God, I have no idea what to do with that question.
Okay, me neither.
Pass and I'll think. Of it.
he's going last.
Okay,
Yes.
what do you think, Gabe?
Mustaches,
Facial
like
hair?
IPAs,
Yeah,
like jean shorts,
yeah.
and just like slow.
I feel targeted right now.
Yeah. I mean, I wear jean shorts sometimes,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That's
Cut off.
Just kind of like slow rolling
Yeah.
and like group ride sort of thing. I think is what it started with, but now I don't know exactly what it would mean. I know with like Sean, it was before my time. How gravel started around here was just like we couldn't mountain bike.
It was basically the mountain bike trails were muddy, and we wanted to ride bikes, and
Yeah.
most of us hate asphalt with lines on it, so we started riding gravel and dirt.
I love lines on asphalt.
I do not. I hate them.
Oh man.
But I don't know. I think that like for a lot of people, it's like adventure, exploring. Like I found a lot of new places when I started riding gravel, versus either driving or mountain biking. Like a lot of roads that either go nowhere or go somewhere pretty neat and pop out somewhere that I didn't even know there was a road. And I think there's really a big gap in gravel riders as far as people that are just out there for exploring and adventure, and then there's the hardcore race people. And the weird thing about gravel racing is both of them sign up for races.
Yeah.
So you literally will have guys that bring like sandwiches and coolers, like Ryan Thompson, for example.
I love Thompson.
And he will be packing like 6 cans of pork and beans on a long gravel ride, and
Arizona iced tea.
and like a 6-pack of Arizona teas, and he is super pissed now because they're no longer 99 cents.
Yeah.
So he's more like an adventure guy, but he's fast when he wants to be fast. But people will show up to the race. They will do the race in 3 hours and 10 minutes, and people will show up in the race and hope they finish by dark, which is going to be 8 hours. And both of them have the same amount of fun. So it just depends on how you want to ride.
And for me, it was kind of weird. I jump in, I'll come back to me now. I've thought about it a little bit. As a newbie, for me, gravel was always like Katy Trail, Tunnel Hill Trail. You know, it was off the road. It was a little safer. The more I've gotten into what I call real gravel, which is what we're talking about, for me, it kind of feels like the culture of mountain biking, but without the trees and the rocks. Right. You know, where I don't have to worry about dodging stuff, and I don't need to be ridiculously technical in my ability.
It sounds like we need to have another Golson ride and take him.
I think it sounds a great idea.
It's on my mind.
Yeah.
I've been really wanting
Let's
to
not do it this weekend.
go to the horse barn.
Yeah.
Next weekend, I want to ride at the horse barn. The horse barn, and I want you to be
Are
there.
we
And
going
I
up
want
the
you
hill
to
or down the
experience
hill?
we're going down the hill, and we're
Regions.
going to do the creek crossings, and we're going to see if you stay upright.
Ride across the top of the waterfall.
We should
Yeah.
start.
I was
out
there
with Blue
Sunday.
Sky. We should start from Blue
Start
Sky.
at Blue
Dude,
Sky.
Blue Sky
I
rides
like
are
it.
awesome.
Warm up.
That would be a good
No,
one.
I like starting and just blazing that hill at full tilt.
Last time I did that, it was raining. It was you and Ryan Hagler.
Yeah.
And it was like 25
And we
degrees
almost
out.
died.
And
Yeah,
like
like
it was wet.
when
and
you
Oh,
get
you
to the
rubbed
bottom
it.
of
I
that
can't do
hill,
this.
your eyes are watering so bad you can't see.
I feel like this is
Yeah.
a hazing ritual.
It is. Yeah, that's going to be it.
I have a
Meet us at the horse barn,
The
Goreville.
first time I ever rode that, I think it was the first time I'd ever ridden with Sean. I forget who invited me to it, but he just comes up to my bike, doesn't say anything to me, and just feels my tires to see how much pressure I'm running, and walks away. Like acceptable.
Do I want to follow this guy so I can watch him
I
crash?
think that's when we also ended up.
Do we go out
down
front or do we
the
go behind
trail
him?
where we weren't supposed to be at. We'll just
Oh,
say
where
that.
we climbed the gate.
No, we went down a trail
Oh,
that has
yeah.
water bars
Yeah.
that we're not supposed to be on.
Yeah, the Scout Boy Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on that. Yeah.
And
Dan, that is a blast. I
And,
know you're
you
not
did-
supposed to ride bikes there, but we did push them down it. But it looked
Yeah.
like it'd be a lot of fun.
That's right. When we did ride that scout trail, we were walking. We didn't. Most said we didn't ride it, but it is a fantastic.
a
trail
different
to
time
walk.
when Sean and I were going down a trail with water bars.
Yeah.
You
You definitely can't get air on.
I
that.
didn't let him know that there were water bars. And he was Mr.
Trail
Downhill.
scared me, man.
That was Mr. Down.
I know exactly what
He
you're
ended
talking
up
about.
way out in the woods. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so
Spirit of Gravel, Justin.
Spirit of Gravel.
Katie was in that too. She was on there.
I'll be real with you guys. I think it. Okay, for one part of me wants to say it's my favorite form of riding bikes, but everybody in here would probably call me a liar for that one.
Yeah, I would.
Just because of the sheer amount that I don't ride. But it's to me, it's run what you brung. Always be slightly uncomfortable, so you're either overbiked or underbiked for every section you're on.
I was kind of wanting to go through my entire life
And-
without ever talking about overbiked or underbiked, but
Sorry, dude.
that's all right. No, I like it.
So I don't know. It's run what you brung and just show up and have a good time. I don't know.
That is a really good answer. Right
I
there.
don't-
Show up and have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, and I also want to add to it that it's wear what you got to.
Yeah.
Go with Aaron Arnzen and those crew, and they're in cutoff shorts and flip flops, and they're just crushing these big hills
Yeah.
and eating apple slices while I'm eating goos and stuff
Yeah.
like that, right?
They're doing that.
And you can sit like on a Mary Poppins bike, like some people do with a little bell, or down in full aero race position, right? It's all acceptable on these group gravel rides and these races.
Yeah.
Like
It's-
gravel is friendly. Everyone's very accepting in gravel. Like a road ride, you show up with jean shorts on a road ride. Around here, probably not so bad, but like some places, like people are used to it. But you go to St. Louis and show up in jean shorts to a road ride, and they're gonna think you're an idiot.
From what Luke has told me about living and riding in like Sedona and all the places he's lived, the road bike culture is he kind of just he got out of it really quick. So it's almost toxic because the people are so judgmental and it's just like it's not fun. He's like it takes the fun out of it for him a lot because the road bikers were basically like it's like a super cliquey club if you don't have the right lycra, and whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of good answers. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. I have been on the very end. A few years I did like kind of what do you call that? Were you the guy at the end of the ride?
The Lantern Rouge.
No, well,
Sweeper.
Sweep. I rode Sweep a couple times, and Jeff Ballantyne, hard man that rode that. He was, man, like the final rider to finish, and I finished with him probably 8.5 hours, 9 hours into the race, finishing it dark. And what blew my mind is that there's people there to greet him, not just his wife, and there was some funny smells to greet us too along the final ride. There's some guys from Kentucky there, and we smelled some interesting herbal scents. But anyway, we finished up that ride, and there was people there to cheer for him. And I thought, man, this is like if this is Spirit of Gravel. I mean, I don't know what else could be because like it's the last guy, and we're there for him. Yeah, good answers.
Drew Dillman says this is the fist bump, and the last video, like we're fist bumping all the way around after all of our group
Yeah, I
suffering,
tried.
right? That's pretty
Fist
common
bump.
with the gravel groups around here.
All right, so I think we had a question last time we did this. What's a good time at the Dirty? I was gonna wonder what Mo thought
Good
about it.
time.
What's a good time at the Dirty? Like something
Finishing
really,
time?
Yeah,
Like a
finishing
good time for like
A punter.
Yeah.
I would have
Me.
a good time going slower than the guys winning. I know that.
Yeah.
The winning times are generally like just over 3 hours, like 3:12,
All right.
3:15, 3:18, which is over 20 miles an hour average. So I am fat and out of shape, so I can't even do that on a road bike, probably on like non-hilly terrain anymore for 64 miles. I think I could do it for a mile probably.
Hey, we can do that. That's a start.
Yeah,
We're going to talk about you in a minute about that. I want to throw. I want to talk talent in a minute. When we get through this, I want to talk about that.
It's all
We're coming back
tactics.
to
There's
that.
a lot of tactics in graveling. Too,
Yeah, there
I
is.
think. A lot of people. I mean, road racing is all team tactics and stuff, but Like when you ride with someone like Gabe, it's easy to get in his head. You can pretty much crush him just with some verbal abuse. Yeah.
You're the only one.
Yeah.
I've been tacticalized by some ladies on that levee, man.
Yeah.
They were
Oh,
like,
the levee.
"We need somebody to help pull," and I'm like, "I'm right there." And
And then you're dead.
dropped me on
Drop
Silica
you.
Hill like
Yeah.
I wasn't even alive. It's just goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks, bud.
Thanks for
See
pulling
ya.
Thanks for the
that,
pull.
18 miles an hour on that levee in the wind. That's a good job, fat guy. Okay. Yeah, so good time. We'll talk times at the end. I feel like,
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I mean, I always thought 15 miles per hour is a pretty, that's like a decent time, but I don't really think, I think that's a little fast for the dirty because of the terrain. Not really the gravel, but just
Yeah,
the
Silica
climbs.
Hill really kills your time. It's so steep. Like the fastest you can possibly make it up Silica Hill is by running with your bike.
Yeah. I've rode up it once.
But riding is slower than if you
Yeah.
had the legs to run it. You're
Yeah.
faster running. Like if you do ride it, you're in the lowest gear your bike
Yeah.
has.
It's a traction.
It'd be cool to have someone with video there with the frame.
And it is neat, but the thing is, like, it just doesn't do it justice. You can tell
No.
people all day long that Silica Hill is gonna just bust you down, and they're like, won't be bad. And I'm like, here's a video, and it's like, yeah, it's a little hill, but you get there, and it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and it hits you hard. I mean, the location is, if you've been riding that levee thinking, and especially in a headwind or something, and thinking, like it's just you've been riding like this tempo, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, good luck, buddy.
And most of the people don't notice, but after the levee, you've got just a small, like I'm going to say a half to 3/4 of a mile break that has a little bit of a downhill off of the levee, which is like 14 feet of descent, and then it's flat. And as soon as you make that turn towards Silica, it starts a gradual climb.
Yeah.
And even I don't really think about that when I'm riding there because I'm thinking about the wall that's coming up in a half mile. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, I'm not to the hill yet, but my legs are dying when I get to the hill, always.
When you turn off of that, what seems like that person's driveway, and take that left where the trail seems to start, I think my thing says 12 or 13%. Just that. First,
right after you turn off there.
Eighth of a mile or so. So you're smoked, and then gradual uphill at 5%, and then the wall.
And then it hits. Right. Yeah.
It's killer.
And I have yet to make it up.
And it's not just steep. It's like, really, like, to climb that hill, I feel like you need to be a pretty decent mountain biker on top of having the fitness to climb the hill. It's a battle of not wheeling and not losing traction.
I climbed it one time on a triple ring road bike. It was a Jake the Snake cyclocross, and I was going slower than everybody walking. Like I was, and it was like, I'm going 2 miles an hour, and I've just got my butt all the way back to keep from sliding. Bye, Pat.
I've witnessed Adam Stroh do it twice.
Yeah,
Got to witness that, so it is possible.
it's possible.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely possible.
Those guys,
But is it possible 40 miles in?
Like in a race scenario, like
said he's never done
it's
it during
really
the race.
it'd be really tough because like you're gassed when you get there. Like I've climbed it multiple times, but I've always like backed way off. As soon as I turn onto the gravel section off of
Chilling.
Charles Lane or whatever, it's like I take it. I'm like I get my heart rate down, and I'm like okay, and just get to the bottom and then I climb it. But if I go hard to the hill, I gas out halfway up it.
So I'm going to talk for a minute about you being fat and out of shape. Okay.
I am.
No, don't look
Easy
at
roly
me.
poly.
Yeah. No, he's not fat. So here's the funny thing. Okay, so Mo here, he's a really good technical mountain biker, and I train a lot. I mean, I ride the trainer a lot. I don't think it's training, but I was just doing a little research on Strava the other day, and I noticed you really haven't put in a lot of miles in the last, I don't know, year or two or three. And I was like,
Wednesday nights.
yeah, we would go out on a ride, and you would totally destroy me 99% of the time. The only time I think I'd ever beat you in a ride is if it was like, okay, 50 miles of nice, easy road. I might beat you on something like that. But it just what do you think? What do you think about that? You think I'm right?
I think you're right. As far as you're going to beat me on a 50-mile easy road ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm really dumb and I have a hard time giving up, and I don't like to get beat. So if I can keep up with someone, I will. And I don't know.
To beat Sean, you have to go as hard as you can till he can't see you, and just keep going.
If you get out of my sight, I'm probably just going to let you go. But Gabe can't do that yet.
He beat me one time at Touch of Nature.
Man,
Because I broke a chain, and I had to run the last mile and a half, and he beat me by like 2 minutes.
Like I said, there is a lot of tactics in racing.
Sticking your buddy's derailers.
Yeah,
one of them.
I had no
Yeah.
shoe, no chain.
Yeah,
Beat me back.
and I mean, I would have carried your shoe back to you, but so I don't know.
You got me on BT.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
That race.
Berryman, you just got to let everybody else crash out.
Yeah.
Like Lee
crashed
Gabe,
out.
everyone faster than me that I went with crashed out, and I beat him, and that was my goal, to beat them, and it happened. But I didn't like beat them by my fitness. I beat them because I didn't crash. But another thing, make sure your bike doesn't break.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you think working at a bike shop,
Yeah.
probably have something runs pretty good, but
I've heard this about
busting
Gabe.
chains, tires, all the nonsense. Mechanicals in mountain bike. I mean, any racing really, but mechanical, you're done. Like,
There's many times Mo has fixed my bike on the side of the road, on the trail. The guy always has everything possibly that you could need to fix it.
I'm gonna plug you, Golson.
Yeah.
But then also praise Sean.
Sure.
The last Glendale video that you did, it was like us three, and then Barry and Thompson.
Yeah.
You cleaned the step up on the bluff trail.
Yeah.
Yep. I've
Yeah,
got that
that-
the last couple times.
Yeah.
If you can do that,
I've never done that.
That's another one. You gotta pace yourself. You gotta get your breath before you get there, because, you can launch up the step,
Yeah.
but you got to be able to crank about 3 good pedals.
I was chasing you,
Real
wasn't
quick.
I? Was that the part where I was chasing him with my camera? Because
Yeah.
I didn't get that far, and I was like, that's the one where I said, I'm just proud to be in the same forest as you, because I really was. I was like,
I know. Well, you hear me in the background go, I'm impressed
yeah. I was like,
because I've got a bond.
I just didn't think you were going to clear that, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
I was just like, that's one thing. I always think every time I do go on a ride with you, I'm always like, this will be my day. Mo's going to suck, and I'll be better than Mo. And I'm like, bye, Mo. Good riding with you, buddy. He just smokes. I think we need like 6 hours of road, and then I'll be like, yeah, you all right, Mo? You know, but
Yeah.
probably
Man,
still.
the sustained effort on the road kills me. I like uphills and downhill. I don't like the uphills, but I know they're going to end soon.
Yeah.
I don't like riding in the wind on the road because it never lets up. But
Doesn't like uphills. Doesn't like riding against the wind. Doesn't like being on
Yeah.
the road.
like I said,
You know,
I hate riding on the road.
If there's trees
Yeah,
around, he feels a lot safer.
The nice thing about gravel, there's a lot of trees and they block the wind.
Yep.
Sean and I got dropped on a road ride, and then he never showed up.
I haven't been back to a road ride after
Yeah.
that. It was ridiculous. At 28.6 miles per hour, we were losing traction on the lead group, or on the group,
That's
on a
crazy.
flat road.
Yeah, Sean
Who was
and I
in the
were-
lead group?
It was like Ball and Jay and Kate.
Yeah, it was a bunch of like semi-professionals, it seemed like. But
We were
Gabe and I were taking turns trading
a
pulls,
bunch of neo-pros.
and I was like, that was the closest I've been to crying in a long time. I almost vomited. It was bad. Like,
Yeah.
I don't wear a heart rate monitor ever because they scare me, and it would have been bad. Like, it was a lot.
We were going like in between 28 and 30.
Yeah,
And-
it
and
was
just
crazy.
Like, you just saw them like going away.
They were leaving us back, and I was like, I don't know who's got the e-bike up there, but it was bad.
Yeah, Brommel J. That's
Yeah.
his secret.
Yeah,
He was probably chattering the whole time too. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what he does.
yeah,
Talking.
Hey, I like the color of your bike. While he's
yeah.
flying down
Yeah.
the road.
1 tree, 2 tree, 3 tree.
Yeah.
Some people,
But
that's what.
Kate's
that's,
another one though. Kate,
Yeah.
like you cannot, like Kate doesn't ever get winded, or at least
No.
you never know she gets winded. But it's like
Steady
she
state.
just like steady power the whole time, and she will make people hurt.
Yep.
I remember an SNBC ride one Tuesday night where we're like, yeah, we're going to take it easy tonight. And then Josh and Kate pulled up. We're like, nope.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
They show up together, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Well, now we're gonna
Yeah.
follow them
Yeah,
Kate and I
and
did
hope
that.
to try to keep up. We yell at them. Keep it under 20.
Keith and I showed
Nope.
up on one of those rides. It was
Yeah.
a Wednesday night. There one in Carbondale, but it rained the day before, so we couldn't do the mountain bike. And they're like, "Oh, thanks for it being the concession for you guys to second fiddle." But
So I want to just for good old time's sake, I wanted to kind of talk about, not make fun of, but talk about some of the early Dirty South rides before it was a race. And we had, Mo had the west side, I had the east side, and what was the problem, Mo, of that event? Do you remember there was kind of a problem with doing it that way?
Man, the thing with that is we would I can't say that like a beginner cyclist would show up, but you never knew who was going to show up. It was kind of an open invite thing, and we tried to put the word out that it was going to be a hard ride.
Yeah.
But I don't think people really understood what we meant by hard ride, and like I think. And honestly, like I feel like I'm a lot softer than I was back then. Like we would ride, like it would be like Mitchellsville. We did one in the snow. It was like 25, snowing like crazy. It was miserable, and somehow we still did that ride and thought we had fun.
Yeah.
But like we get people that would show up with like a 39-pound giant like coil spring downhill bike, and the kid weighed like 85 pounds probably. His bike was bigger than him. His mom just dropped him off at the winery where we started, and was like, "Okay, let me know when you're done." And
I remember that.
He got he was off the back within 100 yards.
I remember that.
Like
what are we
when
gonna
we
do
were
this?
100 yards in, he was 95 yards behind us. And we limped him along until we basically waited like an hour at the bottom of Pine Hills for him.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
that was the problem.
And
the
called
waiting.
his mom and our dad, and somebody came and picked him up. But we would get people like that. We would also get people that just showed up. They would start the ride with us, and then we would wait on them at an intersection. Like every intersection, we would stop, make sure everybody was there. We turn around, they're not there. What the hell happened? We ride back. A couple of us would go back, like to the next intersection back. Still didn't find them. And then like the next day, we would get a text message or see on the group chat, probably on the Simba page or wherever, that like, sorry I bailed. I just decided to go a different way. Well,
Yeah. Thanks for telling us.
thanks for the heads up, because we went looking for you. Like I thought you were dead. So
Yeah.
that was kind of frustrating. But those rides were a blast, though. Like it started out like the very first one, there was like 25 people showed up.
Yeah.
Of just like hey, does anybody want to ride a gravel ride? And nobody really even had gravel bikes that much. I mean, there was a few, but that was like 2011-ish, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So-
2010, 11, or 12.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one of those, but it was one of those. I have the original poster I made for that, which was funny because it was like, it's not a race, but it kind of is, but it's not. It's not a race. Bring a good bike. Probably don't bring a road bike. Somebody showed up on a road bike.
Yeah, there's been some
Young
serious, fast people showed up with like 23C tires, slicks.
Yeah,
like
he had
crazy,
a flat. but
like 150 psi.
Yeah.
It's like Landis did it on a road
What was
bike.
that? The one dude. One time we went through One Horse Gap, or not One Horse Gap. We went through. It was in the One Horse Gap area. Went through.
Leisure City.
Yeah, we went through Leisure
Yeah,
City.
yeah.
And right after
Dutton
that,
Chapel Road,
we
I remember
bombed
that.
a big downhill, and
Yeah.
like both of his tires exploded. And then
Yeah.
there was another one, Silica Hill, same type of bike, carbon like crit bike. Right after the big climb on the first like downhill section, just blasted. I think it's where the red brick that's laying in the middle of Silica Road after that climb. I think it was right there, and he may have hit that brick, which I see that brick every year and I don't move it. I like it. Yeah.
Responsible.
Yeah.
He's such a good.
I will get the like little twigs and sticks and leaves out of the way, but the brick
no.
stays.
Don't neuter it.
Yeah, you gotta leave the brick.
Well, what else we got? How we doing on time here, guys? Not
Simba
bad.
meeting.
Simba meeting. We got to talk Simba meeting. Let's brought it up. We got to tell us about it, Gabe. Simba meeting.
All right. So speaking of open invitations, we got a Shawnee Mountain Bike Association meeting here at the shop, February 8th. It's at 5:30. I'm pretty sure it says. at 5:30. We're just going to talk all things that are happening in the area and get ideas from the community around here and just get updates. And it's just an opportunity for you to, speak your opinion, meet new riders, And also, one thing I put on some of the posts is that most of the people around here that mountain bike, also road cycle, gravel bike, they're just into cycling in general.
Some of us like roads.
Yeah, some of us like roads, and
Some people even like to lift.
I know. So
Losers.
Yeah, those losers.
Bunch of losers.
But so if you were into cycling at all, I'd encourage you to show up and show your support.
And just Simba, it's Shawnee Mountain Bike Association. When I was in high school, the guy who started that was like, I remember he came to my high school and he was like, I'm trying to get people to sign up for this. I just need your name and address because I want it to look like we have a lot of users when I asked the Forest Service, and so that was Jeff Jones. He started this thing. It's been around for a long time. Mountain biking really goes back. If you look into follow Drew Blair on Facebook, you can find out that mountain biking goes back, to like 82 or something, 84 in the SMBA, the Shawnee Mountain Bike Association. You can learn all the history from Drew.
He and young man Joe Ellis, they've been riding.
Yep, they ride pretty much all the time.
They actually ride the hard trails too.
The real trails, the east side trails, which are pretty tough to ride. We can talk about that too for a minute. I don't know. I don't know if I ever really want to ride some of those trails again. The last time I rode with Drew, we've talked about this. I don't want to go back over that. But do you ever want to ride east side trails again? Is that ever something?
Well, I am more selective on the east
Yeah.
side trails I ride.
Yeah.
I feel like I rode a lot of those trails over there because I'd never ridden them before. So there's so many trails over there that there was always something new to ride. So every time we went with Greg or Drew, like Greg's the godfather, anytime you went with him, he had a hazing ritual, and he will tell you about it. But
I'm sorry you miss out on that.
but
Well,
he,
I'm sure you'll make up.
and that may be why I
could
don't
never
give
do
up
it.
very easy, because
Yeah.
my first mountain bike ride was like a 10-hour
Yeah.
death march on Black Friday, freezing
Yeah.
cold, wet.
Yeah.
And anytime we'd be like, "How much farther, Greg?" and he's like, "Oh, just a holler and a half. We're
Yeah,
just about
just
there."
next
And,
dollar.
about 6 hours later, we were still the same distance, and I think going farther away. But anyway, I am more selective on where I ride over there. There's some stuff that Drew still likes to ride that is absolutely not fun for most people with a mountain bike. It'd be a great hike, or it'd be great to ride a horse through probably, but for carrying a mountain bike through it, not that much fun.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff is a lot of fun. Like the Gossage area, that's still pretty fun.
Yeah.
The Ruby, still fun.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of fun to be had over there, but I am not into riding the trenches where your pedals are hitting the side of the wall as you're riding all day.
There's some better, Gossage is, all that stuff's been cleaned up, but just, like how soft I am now, like I said, we were tougher back in the day. And last time I rode Gossage, I was like, oh, this trail's really nice, but I have to get off my bike and go over this huge log every 5-10 minutes, and I'm like, oh, that sucks,
It was
If I was riding at Glendale, at least it'd be cut out by, some nice guy like Kerry would probably have already cut that out for us.
Summers,
or somebody.
Kerry.
Summers.
the Black Friday ride though. We did go there, and then
Yeah.
just speaking to that, I was at the top.
Oh, at Ruby?
Yeah, at the Ruby. We went to the Ruby for Black Friday.
Yeah.
And how many riders we have? Close to 30.
We had a lot. We had a big crowd. Probably, I think it was like 26.
So I was towards the front, and it was one of our stopping sections. It was at the top of a switchback, and it's probably 3 or 4 switchbacks down. There's a line of people, and I'm at the top where all stopped, and just below me, I just hear ooh, ah, just from a chorus of people struggling to get up this hill with all the rocks.
Well, you have to ride that stuff to stay sharp.
Oh yeah, I lost it.
There are people that don't think touch is technical enough, but the faster you go at touch, the more technical it gets. So if you don't think it's hard, go a little faster.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
the
Going as fast as I can.
the technical features at touch are relatively easy compared to old school Shawnee trails.
Yeah.
If you don't want to drive all the way to the east side, go ride Kincaid or Cove Hollow. Just a couple times a year will
Tune you up.
will give you a nice tune up and make you realize that you need to ride them more than that.
So SMBA meeting, you can find out. And the last one I went to, it was just a good mix of people. Who's leading this now? Oh, Mo.
I'm still, I guess, officially the unofficial president.
Yeah.
But it's a group effort. It's kind of myself, Gabe, Pat, Amy, Philip,
Phil Carriers.
Can't leave Golson out. He's still
leave me
part
out.
of it, even though he doesn't even live in Southern Illinois anymore.
Yeah, I moved north to the.
He's up in the North Country.
Yeah, I'm Lee's neighbor and never see him.
Lee, I don't know if he still shaves his legs or not, but I don't think he rides bikes anymore.
He's looking good.
So the real question is, will there be food?
Yes.
Okay, see, there you go.
We're going to get some food. If you can,
Oh yeah.
RSVP or whatever you need to do to the Facebook page. If you don't Facebook and you hear about this meeting on this super popular podcast,
Yeah.
just comment on the podcast or shoot Gabe an email or call him here at the bike shop. Tell him you're coming. Simba's going to buy some food. Probably won't be like ribeyes or anything. Probably some pizza. So we'll have some food.
Okay. Well, let's get into real quick before we sign off on this thing. Dirty South goals. I just want you to make a prediction. I know Gabe's been thinking. We've probably all been thinking about this, except for Mo. He's just predicting.
What's your goal?
Yeah.
My goal is no ambulances.
No ambulance. It's a good goal.
Yep, no ambulance rides for anyone.
Move the brick.
Yeah, and so far the brick, I haven't heard about the brick crashing anyone. We got, I don't know. That's my main goal. Nobody gets hurt. But
It's a good goal.
after that, it's everybody has fun. I guess would be my second goal.
All right, Jeff. What are you thinking?
I want to break 5 hours.
That's
You
not
can
much
do it.
of a
You
goal
got
for
that.
you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got that.
Well,
What'd you do last
Shoot
year?
for the stars.
I did 5.5, but I bonked bad. So I think 5 is easy. 4.5 would be my stretch goal.
I was way better than you last year, though, and you're way better than me now. So I think 4.5 is like reasonable for you. I think so.
While I'm drinking my PBR, under 4 hours.
And what's your fastest time up to now?
4:20, something like that. I've usually just shown up.
Yeah.
Like, and not ridden through the winter at all. So I've been riding.
Every time
a
I see you
little
too, you never look like you're tired on there. I like when I'm sitting on the side of the road trying to fix flats, and you come by and you're like, "How's it going, Golson?
I
You
usually
know,
do.
you all right?
I
You
usually
need
do
help?"
stop and
Yeah.
talk to.
You look
like,
pretty
all the
chill.
vol-
He's been
all
doing
the
zone
vol-
1 for the last 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, I know all the volunteers at every single.
Oh, we got to talk about
stuff.
volunteers. I
Yeah,
wanted
all
to finish up with
all the
that.
stops. I know all the people, and I kind of feel not obligated. I do. They're my friends. I know
Right.
all of them. I don't see all those people all the time,
Yeah.
so I usually try to stop and talk to them.
You can't do that now.
this year.
You can't do that. You're going to be like, you need to send out a group text and be like, guys, it's like, I'm not a jerk. I'm going for 4 hours. I got to break 4 hours, so I don't have time to talk to you. How do you think, Justin?
3:55.
Okay. And that'll be on a
Single
single
speed.
speed.
Yeah.
So 4 minutes faster than Gabe.
Yeah.
Just a big middle finger
No, that'll only time,
as I'm passing him.
That'll only time my time last year. You know, you got to beat my time from last year, which was 3:55.
You know, I will take a tie with 10
One-
less
add
gears.
1 minute.
10 less gears. Yeah.
One minute.
Okay, 3:54. Then.
3:54. Okay.
Yeah, Justin's running
I'm
a
going for-
faster gear this year.
You're gonna run a faster gear this year. I'm not getting dropped on the flats.
By the way, before we talk, Hank, what gear are you running?
I'm really kind of tossing quite a few gears around. I thought about putting the 46 that came on the bike back on and running 4620. That'll be pretty fast. I don't really struggle on the flats.
Yeah.
But I really struggle on the downhills to keep up with
Yeah.
some of the geared riders. So I'm thinking that if I can get a more comfortable gear for that, I just run the uphills, and hopefully I'll be in running shape.
Yeah.
I gotta start doing that. By the way,
Start jogging with your bike.
Got a month.
If you want to
Yeah.
see the life of a single speed rider, look at my last video on
I watched
regular
that.
guy cycling.
I
and
watched
you'll
that.
see the RPMs, like
Yeah.
the blur of his feet trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
I was
Sean
cracking
Hardy.
up because you were like spinning. I was like, he's not going to stay with him, and you did.
It was like 15-15s.
Yeah.
It was literally just
All right, what do you think, Hank?
15-15s.
3:53.
1 minute, 1 minute faster than last year? Or two?
No.
1 minute faster
than
than
him.
Justin.
No, so 3:55 last year. I want to get down below 3:40, so I like to get into 3:30s because a lot of a lot of the fast guys seem like 330s is
Yeah.
kind of where they're at compared to last year.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get down into that group.
Yeah.
So that's my goal is below 340.
Right
Okay.
together, Hank.
We're riding together.
No. Every time I make that plan with someone, they drop me up LaRue, and then I see them later in the race.
I think I don't remember where I saw you last year, but I remember you dropped me with ease last year. Like it was like not even like I don't even think you were really racing yet. You were just I don't know. I think it was on LaRue. I remember.
I took it out pretty easy up through LaRue Pine, that main
Yeah,
climb.
you're taking it easy.
This year, I definitely want to hit harder that first half because when we come out of the Pine Hills, I want to be with a faster group than I was with last year because you kind of get stuck in the wind there on that road and then on the levee, and it's kind of where you're at.
Yeah.
And I thought Gabe was going to be my buddy through that section.
I got used and abused on the road last year.
Yeah.
Hank and I were kind of riding together in a group, and I went to the front. I did like a 30-second pull, and I go like 10 riders back, and then 15 seconds later, somehow, I'm like back at the front.
Yeah.
And I'm not letting that happen again.
Yeah,
this year.
I was elbowing everyone saying, let him suffer, put him back up there.
Keep him up there.
Yeah, but I want to be with the faster group on those sections.
Yeah, I think that's my plan.
Because you
too.
get stuck, you get on that levee.
At the beginning.
Who you're with is who you're with. There's no moving up, and you don't want to move back.
If Southern Illinois cyclists have sort of like a villain, you know, like a guy, I don't want to say he's a villain, but let's just throw out Sean Hargis here. Hey guys, quick editor's note here. I just looked up the definition for villain, and it says a villain is a character whose evil actions or motives are important to the plot. And I do not want to say that Sean Hargis, I do not want to imply that Sean is a villain. He is not the villain of Southern Illinois cycling. It's not really what I meant. What was on my mind was I was kind of thinking about, and I'm not a wrestling fan, but what I was thinking about was like the guy in wrestling who's just like the dude who like comes in and whips everybody's butt. I don't know, but not a villain, like not a James Bond villain who wants to take over the world or kill people or anything like that. No, the deal is that Hargis was a guy who was just equal to the rest of us, just a punter like the rest of us, who through a lot of hard work and dedication over the last several years has gotten a lot better than the rest of us, I think, except for maybe Justin, who's got youth on his side. Justin's young. But anyway, that's all I want to say. So Hargis, no disrespect here. You're the man. I really think that just, you know, try to quit training so much so that you can ride with the rest of us again. What's his time good? I think he was really, like, was he 3? I know he was
27. I don't know. I'm
It was-
going to shoot
It was
327.
in the 320s, and I was like,
Look it up.
He's just a villain because he beat everyone here.
I was gonna say, we need to get him on.
He's kind of like
Yeah.
the masked rider. You know, we don't see him out in the wild.
Yeah.
And then he just shows up at the
He's
dirt.
Zwifting 12 hours a day. Hargis, I know you're probably not listening to this.
He was
but
here yesterday.
Open invitation. Oh, yeah, open invitation to come on the show next time. You can do the show while you Zwift, and no, he's a super good guy. I'm just calling him a villain because he is sort of stone cold about cycling. Like he's just so it's very focused, and like he's just like like he's like a machine. Like this could be his name, like Iceman.
My first Southern Illinois Trans Am, Gene warned me about trying to stay with Sean. Because he said, however fast you go, Sean will go faster.
Yeah.
And so before the lunch break, I tested it, and he was right. And I was just gassed. And Gene came up and said, see, I told you. I'm like, I knew
almost
lunch
dropped
was
him
coming
once.
so I could do it.
I almost dropped him once
Yeah.
on the ride down to LBL we did last year.
Oh yeah, I remember that ride.
We got in the rollers
Yeah.
there in LBL, and I headed up a few climbs, and I got him by got a few like bike links on him.
Yeah.
339 last year.
Oh, 339.
Okay.
Yeah, that's still fast.
My goal stands.
339.
Yeah.
So I've only beat Hargis once, and that was on a rail ride.
Yeah.
And that was probably the rail ride that should have been canceled because it was
The
like
storm?
lightning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there was tornadoes. It felt like it. For some reason, I enjoy seeing everyone else suffer,
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
I'm suffering.
Yeah.
And I knew everyone was hating it really bad. But Golson, I was so mad at him
I know why.
about, I don't know. So we started in Cave and Rock, if you don't
Just
know what
show
the rail
up
ride
halfway.
is.
133 miles.
And Tom Harbert and I pull like basically pulled the group for the first like 15 miles, it seemed like, or maybe more, because it was massive downpours. And we get off the highway and we end up on Gilead Church Road, which is I don't like climbing, and it's a terrible freaking climb for me. And Golson hops out of the van, fresh as hell,
Yeah.
and eating a sandwich probably.
Yeah.
Hops in front
Couple
and
cups
just
of coffee.
drills it. Like literally sprints the entire Gilead Church Road. And
Yeah.
I got dropped bad. I'm like 2 miles off the back after like a 6 mile
It's
road.
a real dick move.
Super dick move.
Sounds like a villain.
And
movie.
everyone else,
Solid move.
including Hargis, pushed Golson to go faster.
Yeah.
And so they did, and I got dropped real bad.
I'm sorry.
I roll into Goreville, pissed. I stop at the gas. They were all going to Subway, and I knew it. I go to the gas station and get 2 chicken biscuits and a bunch of jelly, and I ate 1 biscuit there, and I took off. And then I see Lee outside of Subway, and he was joining at Subway in Goreville. And he's like, "Are you not going in?" I'm like, "Nope, let's roll." So, like, Hargis was in. Everybody saw me, like, not go in. I'm like, "Nope, I'm out of here." So we just take off. So Hargis chased me the rest of the day. And I knew he was back there. So I just kept pushing all day. And the rain, when we left Murfreesboro, my feet were going underwater. There was so much water on the road that it was like 6 inches of water on the road going along the railroad tracks out of Murphy. We stopped at the gas station in Carbondale. That's where several people bailed. Was
there a river going down that brick road?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, there was a river on the bricks, and then we ended up Dairy Queen. We shot out of there, just got some water, and then Ava Road was terrifying in a downpour. I don't like that road anyway.
Wide open,
it has
man.
lines on it for one.
It's lines.
Semis travel, like the coal haulers are always on that road. So super sketchy. So we got across that, and then we made it to the brewery before Hargis, and that was my main goal.
When does the rail ride?
It's usually like around June 19th. It's like the summer solstice weekend.
Okay.
It's set. I know. I think
it's like
Donnie
Father's
said
Day
it.
weekend most of the time. Yeah.
I did not realize the consequences of my actions. I thought you were a little short with me. I think I saw you.
Yeah, I was not happy with
Because
you.
I rode.
Single finger salute as he's
Yeah,
riding by.
I stopped at Subway for a minute, and then I saw Lee. I'm
See,
like,
I didn't
"Let's
get
go."
to Subway because I'd already drilled myself. Like,
Because he only rode like 15 miles and went home.
I rode 15 miles as hard as I could, pulling the
Blew
group.
me up bad.
And then I turned around and you were coming down the road, and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And you're like, "Yeah,
So
have a good one."
yeah, I don't know how many miles it is from Gilead Church Road, where I totally exploded, to Grassy at the end of Devil's Kitchen.
Yeah.
But that's how long it took me to recover. When I turned on to Grassy after Devil's Kitchen, I was like, finally had like legs back, and like Lee's like, "Dude, like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "We got to keep going. Like, we're not slowing down." And he's like, "Okay." But yeah, that's how long it took. That was like a 2-hour recovery. It was ridiculous how long it took me to get like alive again.
That was a fun time.
I've seen you mad on
I
that
do the ride.
before. I've seen Sean and I mountain bike together a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen Sean mad before.
Yeah.
Get going to go into all
It
those,
happens.
but
I get aggravated every now and then.
It's not always
The
fun.
maddest I ever got on a ride was a Massac County ice ride.
That one was bad.
I
got
and
pissed
it
on
was
that
nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Other than Specialized, I should have wrote them a letter about their damn tires.
Yeah.
That apparently are
You
not
had so many flats that
I
day
had
in the worst
I
conditions.
think I had 6 flats.
Cody Lynn was on that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was there. I
Yeah.
was running those damn.
He bailed really
triggers,
early too.
Those Specialized triggers.
Yep.
And I
remember that.
I like double flatted on like cinders. Like
Yeah.
it was to the point where like if I hit a pebble, like
Yeah.
a smooth river pebble,
Yeah.
like
I could flat on
quarter
that pebble.
inch, I flatted, and I think I had 6, maybe 7 flats. I threw that crux like
I remember that.
probably 30 feet, maybe longer. My hands were so cold. Like
Did
it
you
was,
see me fall in the mud hole or the ice hole in that one?
Yeah, that was
It
awesome.
was Jim Walters' ride,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
started and we rode through a cornfield. Like we started off on the ride, and then it's like, okay, we're cutting through a cornfield, and I'm riding along, and I'd never start good. I'm always like grumpy and tired and hurt at the beginning of rides. I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack, and we're riding through a cornfield, and I fell in a giant wet ice hole, and I was like, "F this S, you know. I don't want to start cussing on here. I said I wasn't going to cuss on here, so I won't cuss on here. And I got up, and I was like, Jim, this ride sucks. And he's like, oh, it's okay. That's the one. Did we get screamed or yelled? Is that the one, too, where the guy at the... where we were riding and he was like, I own this road. And,
Yeah. We were on like a little private lane of like Jim's pretty bad about just like he doesn't have an airplane anymore, but when he did, he would fly around and find cool spots that he wanted to go ride, and he's like, come down, I found a new road, and we would go ride it, and like from the air you can't see an electric cattle fence, or like a guy with a gun hiding behind a bush.
Got
So
yelled at by a guy because he was like, "This is not your road," and it was a little tense for a minute. I was like,
some of the gym rides, I've been the Brookport tornado that pretty much wiped out the entire city of Brookport. Jim and I were crossing a bean field because the road that went through did not go through. And he and I did this ride together, and we were in the middle of a bean field, and I did not take my cell phone. I knew the weather was terrible. The power lines were like bouncing off of each other across this bean field, and we were walking under them to start with. I'm like, I'm going out in the middle of the field. I'm not going to get killed. So we get across the field, and it was terrible. We got back to his house. His wife was like, oh my God, are you guys okay? I looked at my phone. I had like 36 missed calls from everybody I knew. Like, are you alive? Like, what's going on? Brookport just got wiped out. But we were right in the middle of it and didn't know it. Like, and
that's just the thing for you, getting like
storm rides, like with Jim, I've been nailed down by lightning. And
Mo rode a lot back then.
I did. I was always
he's like, if there was a ride, Mo was going to be on it.
Well, I remember like
not anymore.
My first ride with Mo was like one of the Cape rides. I think it was you, me, and Pat, and like we were riding, and like this guy shows up on a gator, and he's like threatening us and everything, and I was like, oh, it's a good thing that he's over there. I'd kick his ass. And I'm like, oh. They both look at me like, with what?
I'm just like, what the hell? But anyway, that guy, he thought we didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
And he's like, which way did you guys come from? And I'm like, from Cape. He's like, you come from the north or the south? And I'm like, hell. I'm like, how about north? And he's like, well, you assholes were on my property then. And I'm like, well, maybe we were on the south because I didn't see any signs that said private property. Yeah. So we were just waited on that JW guy. That was not Walters, but the JW from
Cape,
Jackson, Missouri, and he knew that. Like, he went to high school. The guy was like ready to start shooting us, I think. And like the dude showed up, and he's like, "Man, we weren't on your property. Just calm down." He's like, "Oh, all right." Then handshakes ensued, and we got out of there. But yeah, it was. Gravel rides do have the chance of getting intense.
That's part of the spirit of gravel.
It is kind of spirit.
Hopping out. My favorite is
Redneck Adventure.
Coming down off LaRue, and we're like, don't free will.
Oh, the backside of the crazy dude, Rick James.
I heard about that.
You don't want to go through Rick James's creek. It's bad.
I've heard about that.
And like, it's the best ride over there if you're starting at like Kate's cabin. Yeah. It's just, you definitely like, if you go through there, you're taking a risk. So
I've heard that guy does not appreciate it.
I about crashed Mo though with my light.
Yeah, it was so bright. It was like I had like a seizure going down the hill in the dark, and I'm like, turn that off. Like, I couldn't see anything.
I had a blinky light,
and it was just crazy bright, and like huge washouts. It was bad.
And I could hear him yelling at me, but I didn't know. We were like bombing down this hill.
I was in the back.
You go like 40.
I was in the back, and I was trying to stay close, but I couldn't see, so I had to like drop way back. And I'm like, if this guy shows up with a gun, I'm hosed. Like,
you don't need to be in the back. You want to be in front of Gabe.
Yeah,
let him take the buckshot.
Yeah, that ride. You don't want to be in the front, but you want to be like away from the back.
That was also the ride that you hit the armadillo.
I hit an armadillo in the dark because we were riding along. Cody was there, and Cody's like, "Let's shut our lights off. It'd be cool." So we shut our lights off on State Forest Road, and we're cruising along like 17 miles an hour.
We're 3 abroad.
Yeah, 3 wide.
And Sean's in the middle.
Oh, everybody splits, and it's just like boom. And I held on to the bars. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, "What the hell was it?" I thought it was a log. I thought like a piece of driftwood.
Was it alive?
Yeah, it was alive.
Okay.
It ran across the road. It was, at least when I hit it.
Yeah.
But it was a full-size armadillo. I crushed that thing.
I just see something scurry across the road. I go one way, Cody goes the other. There's nowhere for Sean to go.
We had no light. I didn't see it. Like, I hit it and physically, like, made contact and still did not see the thing. And, like, I was just like, did anyone see what that was? And they start dying laughing. They're like, it was an armadillo. But, yeah. Yeah, it was mine.
man, and keeping upright because I was on a St. Nick's ride when a dude ran over a groundhog and just ate it, and it kind of ended his year there. And I was like, Mo would have handled that. He would have plowed through that groundhog.
You were squirrels. Yeah, squirrels are bad. I've got some squirrels. Were you on the ride with Barry? The end of his gravel career.
I remember that.
That was before. That was before.
That was
my
before
time.
he turned pro.
Well, that was
Yeah.
before my time.
Pro enduro.
Yeah,
bro.
Ryan Hagler sold Barry a single speed gravel rig. So Barry shows up. I think it might have been a sail barn ride, and it was one that we got into some, we'll say, behind the yellow type of action.
Yeah.
But we popped out on Goreville Road. Well, it was Route 37 south of Goreville, and there was a concrete V gutter on the right side, and we're riding basically a pace line, single file down the highway to get to the next gravel. Barry's probably like wheel 5 out of 8 of us, and I'm like 7 probably. And John Lent, that poor guy, he took the brunt of this thing. Barry scrubbed his wheel against the edge of the gutter, like it was like a 1-inch step up. He scrubbed into that, leaned the wrong way, tried to get out of it, couldn't. The tire blew off the rim because it was a junk ass rim that Hagler sold him, I think. I don't know what it was, but the tire was super loose on the rim. Tire blows off. Barry goes down. John Lent goes down. The person in front of me went on top of John Lent and ground him into the dirt. I swerved around him, and then whoever was behind me made it too. But there was like a 3 or 4 person pile up, and Barry pretty much didn't ride gravel for like a good 4 years after
The
that.
next time he rode gravel was he signed up for the Dirty South, and he shows up to the Dirty South, doesn't have a bike,
Yeah.
and borrows my bike. I'm just volunteering that year, so I like set him up on my bike, put my computer on it, and just like go at
Go,
it.
Barry.
And he got
Yeah.
like third.
Yeah.
Like half.
that was like right after he turned pro.
Right after he turned pro, he got really good.
Yeah.
Somehow he got really good really fast, Barry. How'd you do that?
He's doper.
EPO.
We talked about, he just mentioned volunteers, and I wanted to throw that out there again. That's part of the awesomeness that we Dirty South. We'll come back to that real quick. Really, really appreciate all the volunteers, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of the people, I send out a survey every year after the race, and most of the praise always includes volunteers. Everyone loves all the volunteers. So if you volunteer, thanks again. And if you don't and want to, get a hold of Gabe or Pat, and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, it's a good time. I've done sweep, did a lot of photo for it. Never really volunteered in an important way. Just kind of hanging out. I rode with Larry in the sweep car a few times, and that was.
Was that on purpose or was that accident?
That was on purpose. That
Okay.
was I didn't even have a bike with me. I'd just show up and help out the first few years. You've got something on here on our agenda here. Final thing. What is this silly Conquerors Challenge medal? Is this?
Well, I want to show.
Oh, yeah.
I want to show the 2 medals I have, and they're the 2 extremes of earning them.
Is this where you can buy medals online? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
But the first one is the one I want to brag about. So on our last podcast, I talked about doing an everesting challenge, and I actually did it.
yeah,
So 18 and a half hours on the bike, up out to Zwift 8.5 times. And
I did 3 of those.
I gotta say thank
Not
you
with
to
you,
you
'cause
and
I didn't
Justin
stay with you.
for showing up and giving me some
I just wanted to see what it
some
was like.
support.
That
And,
sounds like
see
the
your
worst day
and,
ever.
and JJ as well for saying hello first thing in the morning. So I appreciate all the moral support because I needed it, and I was broken at the halfway mark and ready to give up. But my friend that was there helping me refused. She's like, no, you've gone this far. You're too hard-headed.
you
Keep
can't
going."
give up once you start that type of deal.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You feel like a quitter.
Which is why I've never started it.
And so at the other end of the spectrum is this silly Conqueror challenge. So you guys probably seen this on Facebook. You know these little challenges for people to do. You know,
Photo of this for the.
do so many miles. Well, my sister signed up for this Conquerors challenge, and I guess they had like 50-mile challenge they signed up for, and they were like 3 miles into it, and they're like, hey, would you like to join our team? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I joined the team, logged 2 bike rides, and completed the challenge for them.
Oh, God.
I got like 15 messages in spam because there was like messages for every mile that you accomplished and all these clues. So I got this stupid little Scooby-Doo award.
That's awesome.
that's
So the two extremes, a really goofy ass one, and then one that I actually
need to-
heard
hold
well.
that. The everesting thing is a real deal. I just was like, I seriously, because remember we were going to talk about doing that once. Did we talk about doing that?
Yeah, we talked about
Williams
doing
Hill
it on
once?
Williams Hill. Christy Brinker, did she finish? She
No.
tried it. I think she attempted it maybe.
She attempted it, but she didn't.
That's my next. I'd like to do it on a real one,
Yeah.
on an outdoor.
Yeah,
hill.
there's no. I would actually probably hang myself if I had to do it on
Oh,
Swift.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it was. What was that? That was
I'd
like
have to do
6
it
hours
outside.
is
There's
worth
no
for
way.
me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's recording.
yeah, we're still recording. We're done. Anybody else got anything you want to talk about?
All good.
Are we good? So let's recap. Dirty South. You need to be there. Can you still sign up?
You can sign up on the waiting list.
Oh, before we go, real quick, guys, I signed up for the waiting list for that lame race you guys do in Indiana. I'm just kidding. The
Dust
Bowl.
Dose Bowl. I'm
Oh,
on the
Dust
waiting
Bowl.
list. Who's doing Mid South? Any of you guys?
No.
Should I even bother signing up for the waiting list for that, or is it just a waste of time?
I think
Do you
think
like
Gene
walking
does
your
that one
bike
every
and
year, doesn't
I know,
he?
that
miles
sounds
of mud?
stupid.
It's
Gene and Katie do that one.
Where's that? Is that in Oklahoma?
yeah.
That's
That's
okay.
I'm
all.
on the wait list for that,
Mechanics.
and I am not. So I don't think it'd do you any good. I think
Yeah.
there's too many people on the wait
I
list.
think it sells out in like 14 seconds.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
You can sign up for the Glen Vegas Gambler.
Glen Vegas. It's going to happen again, Glen Vegas. We're going to do Glen Vegas again.
Surely
Yeah.
we'll do a Glen Vegas in the spring, right?
Probably.
Like
So-
April, May, sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I messaged John Greenstreet the other day, and I wanted to know what the deal was with his stuff. He hasn't scheduled anything yet, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Haven't decided yet." I really look forward to that 2x4. It's
Honda song.
it's the worst ride ever. It's actually really enjoy it. I mean, I'm not saying it's worse. It's just like it's kind of like everesting on Zwift. It's like you do the 2-mile gravel loop with a big hill in it, like 20 times, 40 times, whatever you
Ugh.
got in you. It's 4 hours.
Sounds terrible.
It's horrible. But it is like it's like doing that makes me really appreciate not going in circles on my bike. So I really like it.
You don't know how good you have it.
We're gonna
Yeah,
we're gonna
right.
have Crit Life back by then, so
Yeah,
we'll be going to circles there too.
Yeah. Mo, Crit Life.
Oh, you guys are crazy.
You need to come join us on Crit Life. It's so fun to get dropped in about 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's where I'd be. I'd probably be 4 minutes, maybe.
And it's the day after we ride mountain bikes.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. And that doesn't help me at all.
night.
Thursday
Yeah.
night.
I get dropped all the time.
Yeah.
I just wave and they go by.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm always hurt.
It's so much fun.
stuff, but it's good for you.
It's
It
a good
is.
push.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun. That's the one thing I'm really looking forward to right now. Guys, anybody else has anything else?
Nope.
Thanks for listening, all 12 of you. Appreciate the messages we've been getting. Soil Cycling Pod. No, I do know there's people who listen, and I appreciate it. God, anything else? That's it. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Good times were had by all.
Don't include the production of this podcast.
Oh, no.
You might have some editing on that one.
I